All right, so today I hit some wide grip, paused rep pull-ups, some body weight squats, and some straight bar dips. I wanted to talk about training for strength versus training for size. So this is a question that's come up quite a few times, so I wanted to take a few minutes and kind of unpack it and clarify some things here. Okay, first of all, I want to start with training for muscular size. Here's the deal with that. Your repetition range is really not that important. So probably the single most important factor, whether or not a set was stimulating in terms of its ability to provide a growth stimulus to elicit a growth response, so to build muscle, is how hard you pushed on it. So it's, in other words, the proximity to failure. If you can push a set to a close proximity to failure, you're ensuring that it's going to be a stimulating set, all right? That set will have enough stress accumulated over the course of the set that it will provide a growth stimulus, all right? So you can do that with 35 reps, like in paused rep push-ups, or you can do that with 5 reps, as in weighted chin-ups. Doesn't matter. Like, your repetition range is not important for growing muscle. Okay, so that should be clear by now. There's tons of research on that, and that's kind of been one of the main themes of some of these videos that I've been putting out. Now, when it comes to strength, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, okay? Because I'm gonna kind of, I don't want to fully contradict myself, but I'm going to kind of give a few alternative answers here. So here's what I want you to think about. Traditionally, strength training is understood as a method of training that utilizes a higher intensity approach. Intensity as a percentage of your 1 rep max, meaning a heavier load. A movement that challenges your strength is traditionally understood as a movement that will build your strength better. So for instance, let's use a barbell squat. Say 5 reps is going to build your strength more efficiently than 20 reps, right? Because it's challenging your strength more, so it's going to build that strength more. 20 reps is going to challenge your muscular endurance, so it's going to build muscular endurance more. Now here's what I want you to think about. So frequently, there's like so much dogma in strength conditioning, and especially in calisthenics, that we oftentimes are told that if a movement falls out of that traditional strength range, so say 5 to 8 reps, well, it no longer can contribute to strength development. It's pure endurance. This is not true. So none of these qualities, strength, endurance, power, none of them exist independently. They exist along a spectrum, and it's not a zero-sum game, meaning, well, if you train strength, you're definitely not going to be building endurance, or if you train endurance, you won't get any strength from that. Not true, okay? The repetition range you train at will determine kind of like the proportion of the gains you get in terms of your performance. So for instance, if you train at a higher repetition range, you will be proportionally building more muscular endurance. But that doesn't mean you don't build any strength. Okay, the other day I was messing around and I did a 1-arm chin-up. You've probably seen some of my videos by now, and the vast majority of my training is done with higher repetitions. Okay, so the question is, how could these higher repetitions build enough strength to perform a movement that's classically considered a strength movement, like the 1-arm chin-up? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Because I've done so many pull-ups and so many chin-ups over the course of my life, they're ingrained into my nervous system, and my body knows how to reach up overhead, grab a bar, and pull my chin over it because I've done it so many thousands of times. So by performing a movement over and over and over again, or a movement pattern, I should say, that movement pattern becomes strengthened because it's like neurologically strengthened in your brain, and it becomes more efficient. So for instance, there's a book I highly recommend. It's called Easy Strength by Pavel and Dan John. And it follows the same concept of performing like a couple movements daily and just doing rep after rep after rep. It's not particularly high volume, but that's not the point. The point is it's low intensity, 40 to like 60% of your 1 rep max, I believe, for most of your training volume in it. And people run this for, you know, like 30 days plus, and oftentimes they set PRs without ever hitting really heavy weights, but from just patterning movements over and over again, okay? So yes, while heavy weights and higher intensity movements are traditionally associated with more efficiency in terms of gaining strength, okay, this is not to say that higher repetitions and lower loads can't build strength. They absolutely can. And we know by now that they can all build muscle equally well. Okay, so to wrap it up, here's what I want you to think about. 1, muscle growth is simply a byproduct of pushing your sets to a high level of effort. They don't have to go to failure, but you know, if you're not within, you know, 3 or 4 repetitions of failure, you probably need to push it hard to get to that range or so. Okay, 2, strength traditionally has been understood to be built best with higher intensity movements, meaning movements that challenge your strength more. However, I want you to be aware of that this is not a black and white proposition, okay? This shades of gray, that higher repetitions can absolutely build strength. And if anything, they might have an advantage because by performing so many repetitions, you can build a tremendous amount of strength in the way of sort of like a neural patterning, okay? By getting good at the movement. The more you can practice it, the better you get at it, all right? And because of that, I was able to pull off this 1-arm chin-up. Pretty cool, pretty interesting stuff. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Please like the video, please subscribe, and I will see you next time.